Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session and webinar about why clean is fast. Today, we're going to talk about processes, software development processes, and how to make them fast, efficient, how not to waste our time and energy in chaotic communication, in lack of communication, how to collaborate more. We will touch a lot of topics and subtopics. As usual, consider this a conversation starter that I would love to continue further. So, what about clean is fast? In software development, we're always late. There's always not enough time for everything we want to deliver, for the entire level of quality we want to deliver. There's not enough time to build the right architecture, the right technical solution. We're always late. We're always catching up. The problem is that we actually, most of the time, don't know where our time flies. We don't know why we're late. And today, I'll show you where our time flies and some recommendations from my side how to optimize this and how to eliminate the waste in our process. All right, about me, bug hunter, tester by heart. I see bugs everywhere. I've been in testing and QA for 16 years now, and I've learned that testing is not enough to assure the quality of the software. We need a thorough end-to-end process optimization approach to make sure that the way we work will result in high-quality software. I want to help and to work mainly with startups going forward. I'm trying to land a career as a consultant because startups don't have time to for long transformation initiatives, even though this is also very often sold to them. They need actionable advice right now that will very quickly improve the way they work and result in more revenue, more customers, better software, better quality, greater team engagement. They don't have time for anything longer than short-term efficient process improvement strategies, which I try to build and to implement for them. What I've observed and witnessed in the recent years is that most startups are really lost in translation about software quality. I've worked with developers with 10 plus years of experience that have never worked with software testers. They might have been writing unit tests, and probably someone from the business has been testing for them, but they have never really worked in a systematic, thorough manner about testing and quality. And they're literally lost in translation about it. So I help startups start on the right foot with software quality because everything else is already too late. Quick survey. If you have your phones with you and you have a QR code reader, I will be very grateful. We're for people we can vote with with hands, but it's a small survey in Mentimeter. Which one do you think is faster? Teamwork or working by yourself? Can you open it? Anyone? Do you see it?
Yes.
Yes. Let's play for 1 minute. Has everyone responded?
Actually, I joined the event from my phone and cannot scan the QR code.
You can try to open, yeah, anyway, we can, you can try to open the link or just tell me, what do you prefer? What do you think it's faster, to work in a team, to work more collaboratively, or when you work alone? When do you work faster?
Usually alone is faster.
Can you repeat, Georgi?
Sorry, let me check what microphone I use.
It's okay, but it's just a little low.
Usually working alone is faster, but for some period and for small scope.
But
When you work in a group.
Sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Working in a team can bring more quality.
Why do you think so? Why do you think it will bring higher quality, Anna?
If you work in a team, not alone.
Are you there, Anna?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, why do you think working in a team will bring higher quality? Come on, let's chat a little.
Because you can check a little more different opinions and more different point of view about stuff that you can imagine that can be happen in the working process.
Right, two heads think better than one head. Well, my entire presentation today is about it. So thank you very much for sharing it. This is what I think also, and I'll try to prove it. I've been asked many times, have I proven that like working collaboratively is faster? I don't have the equation yet, but I've just this week started to read the collaboration equation. I recommend it. I think it's by Jim Benson. He's a famous engineer and consultant, and he's been building many things and writing several books about management. So if you find it, probably he has gotten the equation already. Okay, another question. How much does it take your team to deliver a user story on average? I'll be writing the answers. Georgi, how much does it take your team to release a user story?
It always depends on the user story. Let's say, I don't know, 1 week.
That's, sorry, clearly. That's pretty impressive from my last experiences.
Oh, I didn't check, and probably it's not 1 week, but let's just say it's 1 week.
It feels like 1 week, right? Okay, what about the rest? Will you share?
Did you include the discovery process in this 1 week?
That's the second question. Whatever you include.
If you think only for development, yes, 1 week is possible. But if you start the process from the beginning, more than 2 weeks.
1 week for dev and +2 or more than 2 weeks with discovery. Evelina, hello, welcome. And Krasi, will you share?
Hi, I'm from Georgia and Anna's team. So if I add the QA, it will take more.
More than 2 with QA, right?
Yes.
More than 2 with QA. All right. And this is the exact next question. What did you estimate? Did you include only code and test? Did you include the discovery? I heard Anna and Tivalina. What about Georgi? What did you include in your...
Just the development in a sprint.
Just the development.
With other preparation.
And thank you so much for this, because... Oh, sorry. Because this is my point today, that we usually only, when we're asked how much will it take, we're only considering coding and testing. Eventually, if there are testers, if there are no testers, only the coding part. The truth is, this is a standard daily development process for a user story. There's a discovery, there's an idea, there's interviews of the users, definition of stories, refinements, drawing the user experience, prioritization and reprioritization. Then we start coding. Then there's some clarifications to be made. Then we wait for answers from the product manager because he's on a conference somewhere. Then we start, then it's for code review. Then again, there's some clarifications needed, usually, very often. And so forth and so forth. It's a small, and this process, it's if everything runs smooth, if everyone is available, if everyone is in good mood, if they have all the information necessary, if we don't have any external dependencies, etc., etc. This is the happy part. This is the main success scenario for a user story. And as you see, it cannot possibly be 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 days or all these estimations we're used to give when we are asked. What do you think take most of the time? And I'll show you the process again. Which activity in a software development lifecycle like this one takes most of the time?
Asking the right questions.
Coming up with the right questions or getting answers from the right questions?
Both.
Both. I like it. Good one. Indeed, getting clarifications is one of the things I also identified as one of the most costly activities. What about the others? Do you have any preferences or experience?
Totally agree with Evelina.
Yeah, clarifications and responses and more info, more details is one of the things. But before we get there, what actually takes most of the time is the so-called waiting time. The time that it takes a task to somebody to work on it. It's always in the waiting. Somebody is waiting for something to happen in order to start working on the task. Coding is pretty neat and clear. Testing is pretty neat and clear. We can definitely estimate and give our predictions, especially if we have good amount of years of experience. We know it's relative. It's not correct. It's not accurate. I mean, it's correct, but it's not accurate. It's relative. It's average. It's experience-based, but we can get some number, hours. It's usually 1, 2, 3 days. If we work non-stop, if we sit on our computers and we don't leave, we know. But this is not the delivery time. This is not the release time. What actually takes the most of the time is the so-called waiting time. It's the management, it's the coordination, it's the organization, it's asking questions. And this is the next one. It's all these white boxes here, which have nothing to do with production activities. It's all about clarifications and making sure we're on track, we're managing, we're building the right thing. Have we understood each other? What takes most of the time is the fact that we don't understand each other. And it's just natural, it's human thing. And most importantly, we don't gather together and try to understand each other. We have strict responsibilities. We are, companies try to manage the responsibilities very strictly, so we know who is responsible, who is accountable, who needs to be consulted. You know where I'm going with this. It's easy for management to manage people and responsibilities and to be very strict about who's doing what and whose job is what. However, this is slow. And it's not only slow, but it's bad for culture. It's bad for team. Business and tech teams are two different departments, and they so rarely talk to each other. We don't know each other's work. Product managers are complaining and excusing themselves at the same time that they're not technical. Business people are complaining and excusing at the same time that they're not technical, they should not be involved, this is too much, there are too much details now, we don't have time for this discussion, it's for the tech team to decide. Then the tech team also feels distant from the business, from the end users. We are given priorities, we are given tasks, this is how it's not written in the user story, or this is how it's written in the user story, this is how it looks on the mockup. We are here to code, to bring the solutions to this customer problem that has been digested several times already for us, and the information changed a lot from what was the actual need and idea and what has come to the development team as a user story. And what happens? Well, miscommunication happens, misunderstandings happens, bugs, regressions, delays, and a ton of, I said it on the previous meeting, a ton of comments in the Jira tickets or in any other system we use for requirements and task management, 2 scrolls of comments to decide what we actually meant with that user story. This is what takes most of the time. And of course, the time between getting comment and getting answers. So, how to decrease the waiting times and to bring more clarity? What do you think? How, in practice, how to do that? Or
to prioritize.
Yeah, sorry?
To prioritize the tasks and the questions.
To prioritize. What
Improve communication.
Yeah, we're going to improve communication today, but how? We have clear priorities. That's good. Priority is number 1. And it should be clear to the entire company, not only to particular people, and especially when the priorities change, we should not be made aware last minute. And we need to improve communication. How? If it was up to you, how you're going to improve the way we prioritize and the way we communicate with each other. Try. What would you do tomorrow if it was up to you? Anna, come on.
No, I have no answer about
I like you thinking. I like the way you think, and all of you, of course. And thank you for participation. I'm a little too engaging today, probably, but these are things that we all experience on a daily basis, and that's why it's very important for all of you to spare a minute and think about it. What would you do if it's a a broken phone? What was the English name for that game? If there are constant clarifications all the time and we are wasting time, what would you do? 1, 2, 3. I'll tell you my proposal. Just sit together. Sit together, and not only as a software development team, but gather as many stakeholders as you can in a meeting and sit together. My belief is that collaboration saves much more time, and by collaboration I mean actively sit together. Working remotely and virtually is not excuse. Just sit together as a team, gather everyone who has something in common with that feature or with that story, and define the need, define the requirement, break it down, prioritize together, write the skeleton of the code, write the high-level acceptance test cases, get someone from marketing, get someone from sales, get someone from customer support, anyone who's there. In a software as a service business, getting customers is not the easiest thing, but it's not impossible. And actually, I've been observing that customers are so much willing to participate because we're building it for them. They want to solve a problem with our software. They want to work with our software. There's always someone who wants to work with our software, even if we're a startup, not to mention if we already have an established customer base. They will participate if we ask them, especially if we propose, a free service, or a month or two, or discounts or anything, or to prioritize their requests first. Customers will participate, but we're kind of afraid to ask, which is insane, because even companies with UX teams whose sole purpose is to talk to the customers are afraid to ask them proactively to participate in the definition of user stories and participating in roadmaps, etc., etc. Yes, of course, one of the challenges, especially for SAS startups, is that they don't get lost in trying to meet all of their customers' requests and kind of lose focus from their initial purpose and mission. But it's okay. It's so easy to get customer on a meeting. Something that's a huge problem. I don't want to call it a mistake, but it's definitely a problem. We don't follow our priorities, and I like what Evelina said. Just prioritize what's important and prioritize making it clear. What we prioritize is a vague idea of our product vision very often. Then we ask for estimations. We saw what we estimate. We estimate coding and testing. Before coding and testing, there are months of work done, months of reprioritization, months of rescoping, months of planning and replanning. And then suddenly we are deep for 2 days and we reprioritize something that has been high priority. We are very easy to reprioritize it because it will take too long. Oh, it's a big feature. Or not only a big feature, but it's too complicated. And we don't have time for it. And then there are other circumstances like technical debt and refactoring needs that, okay, we don't have time for this, we'll do something else. And suddenly the thing that was high priority and of huge importance for our product, customer, business, suddenly it's deprioritized because of this delusional estimate when it will be done, when we actually don't have any idea when it will be done. So first, agree on priorities, and priorities should not depend on the complexity of the solution. They should not depend on the expected quality. The priorities are a business need, and it should be defined from the business with consulting the engineers, but not these priorities should not depend if it's something huge, but it's crucial for our business. We go for it and do it. We don't take it back because our business will suffer. Then the next step in my this 3-phase development workflow: prioritize as a team, define as a team, and deliver as a team, is to sit together and write the user stories together. Product managers preparing requirements for a couple of weeks, then breaking it down into user story, then trying to come up with acceptance criteria on their own is a bad practice. It never works well. They interpret customer needs somehow. They do a lot of assumptions about the complexity of the software, and very often things that they think are going to be easy are more complicated to be done, or vice versa. And then there's again a lot of disappointment and a lot of clarifications. And we already talked that especially scope creeps and scope cuts are one of the biggest problems, because product managers like to work in isolation. They like to work alone. And it's, they might talk to customer, again, to the stakeholders, to support, sales, marketing, users. But before they are confident in the user story, they don't send it to the developers. And this is so wrong. Sit together as a team. Customer support, sales, marketing, DevOps, an engineer, a QA, the product manager, the UX designer, sit together and define the feature, define the functional and non-functional requirements for this feature. Continue on the skeleton while do it in one day, do it in a couple of hours, sit together. It's not slow and it's not inefficient. On the contrary, it will result in more man hours per task, but less calendar time. And it will speed the releases, because instead of the that picture here, you will have, and all of these are separate actual stages from the development lifecycle. And it's insane, because we say that we're agile, we're not. This is how it looks like. It's not agile at all. It's constant going back and forth. It will look like this. 3 stages. And it is agile because we deliver fast and we get immediate feedback because we sit together. We sit together, we build it together, we get immediate feedback on what we're about to build, on our technical solution. We look into our user story checklist, we look into our technical review checklist, we use it in a session together, we plan it properly, and then the next thing will be to just finish the code and release it. And then, of course, there's some preconditions like doing more pair programming, doing more test-driven development, having a clean design system, and so forth and so forth. But it's possible. Even if you do a requirements review, something that I've done. This is actually what I'm showing you is extension of a process I've tried to write a product requirement document and then immediately review it with the entire team, do the test analysis together, come up with non-functional requirements, come up with risks, with test cases, with the potential technical solution, refine it as a document, then write one story, just deliver. And the next step was to write a technical solution document. Again, this is how I'm going to implement it. It works for a small story, it works for a bigger story, it doesn't matter. The thing is that you have documented knowledge and implementation considerations that your fellow teammates will be able to review and to give you feedback. So that was the next step. And the third step was to just finish the code, which most of it was already written. all of the regression risks considered, all of the things that we didn't know considered and taken into account. And there was barely any testing needed because we've kind of tested it up front already. We've built in the quality already. So sit together as a team. How to do it in practice is up to every team and every company. I don't have the exact mechanism because it depends where are you working from home or from the office, or what are your team meetings usually. But I would sacrifice a daily meeting, for example, a stand-up for active collaboration and actively defining requirements and delivering software as a team, if it's possible. And it's possible if, of course, the team is up for it. So yeah, I've forgotten to add, it's a three-step process. Prioritize as a team, define as a team, and deliver as a team. Because we will save all these clarifications, all these back and forths, all these misunderstandings. We will learn about each other's work more. We will actually, and last time we talked about how we might actually miss a marketing target that directly affect our non-functional expectations because it's supposed to not be interesting for the dev team. Well, it is interesting. And it can affect the entire solution. Okay, questions, comments, feelings, anything?
Yeah, can I understand that your suggestion is to work together as a team from the beginning of the user story when you define the acceptance criteria? And how to be sure that we don't lose the time of the whole team? Is it possible just to be done only from the product owner or product manager and one developer, or it's not enough?
For me, it's not enough. And this is the big argument. We should not be wasting the time of the entire team or the time of developers. They don't care about how the user stories are actually written, as long as they're written clear enough. And this is where my point stands. It's never clear enough. If they have not been part of the story, it's never clear enough. You cannot understand what's the purpose of a story unless it's written the way I suggest in my first talk. But from one sentence, you can, even if there are acceptance criteria, they're usually the positive ones. They usually don't contain non-functional functionalities. We don't ask ourselves what could go wrong. Again, the product owner makes a lot of assumptions about the technical solution, and it's inevitable. Even though it said the user story should state the need, and it should be kind of solution agnostic or technology agnostic, they make assumptions because they look into the software already. There's a new story, and they try to imagine how it will be done, even though they might have no idea. And then this misunderstanding starts. It's much more easier, much faster if you sit together. Sit together, that's the key. Sit together with the product manager and write the story. The product manager, the tester, the developer, the UX designer, if any, or only the product manager and the developer if they're only available. But if there are other parties and other roles in the team, they should be present. Sit together and understand, why are we doing this story? What is this need about? Do we need it at all? Is it the thing that our customers really need? Or we've assumed that it will serve them, or it will be fit for their purpose. it's already, even if one line of text is written, it's too late because it might be wrong, and most probably it will be wrong. It will miss something. And then we give it to the development team for a refinement. The refinement meetings are not enough. You need 1 hour dedicated for each story to really understand what the story is about, how it's going to be implemented, what do we need, how are we going to test it, what can go wrong, do we have everything in terms of information, people, resources, etc., data to deliver that story. 1 hour is not enough, and usually in refinements we try to review 3, 4, 5 stories, and the development team is, yeah, we know, yeah, okay, it's fine, yeah, it's clear. Then they start writing the code, and it's not clear anymore. Then after a couple of sprints, or even within the same sprint, but a week is too much. A code is a user story delivered for 1 week is too much. It means that there were clarifications to be made. And then the testers come, and there are more clarifications. This is by design. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Then the tester goes to the product owner. But I think this is a bug. Yeah, it is. But we'll make it the next sprint because we don't have time for it now. This is my daily life for the last 16 years. It doesn't work. It is slow. It is frustrating. And if we just sit together as a team, get whomever will be valuable to the meeting. Of course, you don't need to get the entire team. If you're 5 developers, 2 testers, 2 designers, and etc., 1 product manager, you don't need all of them. Get whomever is important, who can bring input, but you need the diversity, you need a different way of thinking. You need the development, the developers thinking, the engineers thinking, you need the tester, you need the designer, you need the guy who requested the business there also. Then you can have it all. Otherwise, you will still need it, but it will be prolonged in time because you will come across different questions and different problems over time, and it will be slow and in comments, and again, a lot of miscommunication can happen in comparison to just sit together for an hour and figure it out. Define, following the high quality user story patterns, define the story. While the story is written, while you think about test cases, the developer will be looking already into the code and coming up with suggestions and with the skeleton of the code. It's so much faster. Think about it. It's not conventional. And there's huge argument against its efficiency, but unless it's tried, I don't agree that it's less efficient and that it's a waste of time, because the biggest problem is that we don't know each other's work. All right. The second thing, or that it was the third, so miscommunication, not taking into account all the work that is done before coding and testing, the waiting time. These are one of the things that slow us down, actually, that makes our software releases not fast. The other thing that is helping is the clutterness. Is there a word like this? Clutter. The clutter in our backlog, the clutter in our board, the clutter in our workflows. What do I mean by clutter? A lot of text here and a lot of heavy statements, but backlogs are not to-do lists. However, they're used like such. And in one of the companies, we have a backlog with 247 items, and they only grow. Managing and reordering all of these items all the time is painful. And in another company, I've calculated, I actually walked through the history of that work item just for, I did for many of them. But managing one bug and constantly adding it to sprints, moving it back to sprints, it was tried to get reproduced several times. Then it was not able to be reproduced. Then it was reproduced again. Then it was prioritized again. Then it was deprioritized again. There were 18 or 20 activities on this work item. And in my, in my calculations, it cost 130 hours to manage. So this could be complete nonsense, of course, but it most probably it's true. And what I've calculated, it was very, very true, because it's a cognitive bias load. Not only cognitive load, but it's also, we'll talk about lot cognitive load today. It's also the effort. A product manager looks through this ordered backlog every day. Then the team is asked, like 5-6 people in the team on the next sprint planning, they're asked again about estimation. They think for 2 minutes. You already have 20 minutes lost for 20 minutes lost for this work item that has been there for 1 year. The backlog should be clean. It should only contain the highest priorities, the most critical items that the team is about to be working on the next very short time in the future. Not the entire roadmap or product vision. There's no place for it in the backlog. The backlog is an operational list used for short-term management. It should be very clean, and what it contains should be the absolute certain priorities that we're going to work on these items. They could be one sentence, not refined at all or not described at all, but it should be clear that they are the next priorities. Like 10 of them, for example. The 10 is a lot, actually. less than 10 items in the backlog. What other dirty thing delay us? The technical debt, of course. We're very afraid of technical debt. It's a taboo topic. Nobody wants to talk about technical debt. We're only piling it. Of course, it will slow us down because it's not clean, and because our next feature will take more time because we will have to clean the technical debt for it. It might not be our exact next feature. It could be something in 2-3 months, and that's why we don't care about it right now, but it will delay us. And the situation could be such that it delays, it's a severe delay or it's a severe problem, and we will not have the capacity to deal with it because our repository is not clean, or because our code base is not as clean as it could be. There are even more extreme people out there who believe that we should not even track bugs, we should fix them on the fly. If there is a bug, you fix it. You don't report it, you don't prioritize it, you don't try to reproduce and then return it as not reproducible, etc., etc. You write the code together as a team, you deliver as a team, and you fix on the fly whatever you see. You don't spare it somewhere on another list. What do you have any comments about these two, the first two?
Are you saying that it's better not to log bugs, or are you saying that it's good to log them? I didn't get it.
I say that that's That's a good question. Somebody could actually hear. No, I'm not saying that we should not log bugs. Of course, we should log bugs. But if you work more, more actively together, if you do more pair programming, we should just fix them. It doesn't matter. If you just fix them right there on the spot when you spot it, then whether you working with the developer, then whether you log it, actually logging it will be waste. So you just fix it as part of the development work.
Yeah, that's good if we work together, but this is not always possible. I thought this is the reason to log them.
Yes, and that's why this talk, make it possible. Make it possible to work more together. The question is not whether you log the bugs at all or not. That's just a side effect. If you work more with the developer together, if you look, and that has been one of my most successful projects when we've been really working together. Me watching how he codes or she and thinking about what could go wrong, or vice versa. They watching me testing and fixing on the spot. This is speed. This is clean. This is speed. This is learning how we work together. Learning more about the code, learning more about how it's tested, becoming really cross-functional at certain point. Of course, how everybody works right now is not like that. And this is why the talk, it should be. We should collaborate more. We should work more together. And if you see, in that case, if you see a bug, you just fix it right there. You don't spare it for later, because later is too late. That bug might never get fixed, and it will go to customers because it will not be prioritized now, it will be prioritized later. And some would say, well, if we don't prioritize it, then probably it's not important. There's another, I have another theory about low priority bugs, that they can also slow us down in the most critical times. So clean is fast, make it clean on the spot, right there. Don't wait, don't spare it for later, don't try to prioritize and to plan when to make it clean. Don't have a technical debt story and then put anything that needs to be fixed and refactored there, and then have a separate, and that's one of my least favorites, pet peeve. We will have a technical debt sprint, and now this sprint we will only clean technical debt and do refactoring, and it's safe, it's clean. Then usually there's so much to test and there's so severe regressions, and that's a symptom that there is a so-called starvation, meaning that there's not enough work, actually, there's not enough user story. So all of this is just a wrong way to deliver high quality software. Make it clean, make it right the first time. All right, what else? Something that is very problematic and that really slows development are the so-called dependencies, and the technical dependencies between teams, and how companies scale their teams depends a lot on the architecture. And you've heard about team topologies and their various practices around it too. But very often, what's the type of dependencies that slow us down are not technical dependencies, but external dependencies, and usually asking for more information from somewhere. And this is bad. It's very detrimental for the team to allow a dependency to stay there, visible for them on their board for a long time. Because if we cannot resolve And some would say this is why Scrum Masters are for. Yes, but even Scrum Masters sometimes don't have enough empowerment to resolve an external dependency. It might be important stakeholder or a customer to respond. And I just had a case recently like this. There was a bug, a production bug that stayed on the board for 3 months. 3 months, the team was moving from sprint to sprint, one blocked item that was an external dependency and was waiting for a response. Why would they bother to work faster? Why would they bother to collaborate more? Why would the team bother to perform better if someone doesn't care to respond them for 3 months? It's really bad for the team. So any dependency, any blockers, anything that really stopped the work must have not just high priority, it should be resolved immediately. And that, of course, is a company culture, but we as team need to request and demand it, because otherwise the entire software delivery is slowed down. Saying that collaboration is not efficient is partially a distrust problem. Because again, as we started, companies like to manage and managers like to manage people and their responsibilities, and everything should be very specific and clear. And then what is this party that they're having? 5 people working on the same task, and what sales has to do with development, and what and so forth and so forth. This means that you don't trust your people. And distrust usually slows us down because it results in high turnover. And if the team constantly cannot meet their users' expectations, and nobody responds to sales, and they have usually the customer support team is one of the most, and I've seen it several times in different companies, they're one of the most underestimated teams, and they have usually have brilliant ideas, and they're the first to talk to the customers actually, and they have a lot of proposals, and their request and input is very rarely taken into account. And these people usually change companies faster than anyone else because of this, because of the distrust. Well, get them on the table, at the table when you define the user stories. They're the closest team to your customers, closer than anyone else. They know your customers' problems, your end users. And as a summary for this slide, in general, being inefficient, piling up clutter, not taking care of or sweeping under the carpet things that could have been just fixed and cleaned and made right. It pays back. And it's usually working late night or fixing a production issues over the weekend. And it's usually detrimental for the entire quality, for the quality of the entire software. Efficient workflows, efficient process, clean backlog, clean board, collaborate more. This is what is a clean way of managing software development, and it will result in, in faster deliveries. Some of these I mentioned. Take a look. I'll take a breath. Let me know if you have any questions about this. I will walk through them. We're a little bit into the hour now, but I hope you have 5-10 more minutes. Does any of you have a no meeting day in your team?
I used to have in a previous job.
Was it working?
Yeah, but it depends because it was during Corona, and when you don't see people and you have also no meeting day, it was a bit worse than if it happens now.
Yeah. The no meeting day for me is, it might sound in contradiction with what I've been talking today, but on the contrary. This active working, mob programming, read about it. It's an amazing, this is what I've been talking about actually. Woody Zilla, was it? Invented it. It's brilliant, according to me. After an active collaboration day, it's natural to have a no meeting day, for example, to really focus and finish what you've decided on the previous day. This implies that the priorities are very clear and the team is working on one thing only, and they don't have too many different items in progress, and they don't do a lot of context switching, which is already an improvement and efficiency improvement. But it's only natural that you will need time to focus and you will need time alone to finish the work you started during the collaboration. But you will do it with greater confidence. You will barely need input from anyone else, or just a little bit, because most of the things would have been clarified already with everyone, and you will be trusted to just finish the job in silence. Something very important, all decisions and implementation considerations and risks and anything that the team, any knowledge and information that the team created should be written somewhere in a traceable document, in a managed document that is stored and kept up to date, not somewhere in Slack. Because this is also part of the unclean practices that really slow us down. All right, do you have any questions about these recommendations? I have some more, a lot of statements tonight. All right, let's see what's left. My top 3 out of everything we've talked about so far, of course, is applicable, and it's a food for thought. It's a conversation starter. I'll keep exploring them. But my top 3 are really, I believe that collaboration is fast, and asynchronous work is not fast in terms of calendar time. It might be more efficient if you manage your time well and if you're 2 people, but it's not faster. It will take 3 days instead of 2 hours. Ask for feedback, don't wait for feedback. This is the collaboration starter. This is the mindset that fosters collaboration. Asking for feedback. Hey, Anna, do you have 5 minutes? I've come with a solution. Let's see if it's, tell me if it's what you've imagined. Or, hey, Eva, comment, let me know how would you test that. This is from a developer's perspective, or from designer perspective, or anyone. Just sit together, ask for feedback. You could be 2 of you, but it will be already better than if you do it by yourself. I had very dear friend and colleague of mine. I've been asking her for to read my emails because I know that And now I do it with my husband, with my social network posts, for example. Read it and tell me, do you follow what I wanted to share and what I wanted to talk? I use spell checker and various tools to write proper English, and still I make mistakes. So simple things like that are, even for a word, if I see that I've created content with a mistake, I don't feel well about it. And now imagine the entire story and code and technical solution and tests and designs. How many, and these are not mistakes, they're just different interpretations of the requirements. All of us as testers, designers, developers have different interpretations of the requirements. We read it differently. And this is very physical thing. That's why sit together, read it together, and refine it together. It will be faster. And last but not least, something that I've continued to repeat, and I'll continue to repeat, that testing helps, even if you don't ask for feedback, but you wait for feedback. It should be a team practice to involve any sort of testing or test knowledge or test skills as early as possible. This will ensure clean flows and trustworthy artifacts, because they will be tested. And testers, like Evelina said, testers ask the hard questions, or not the hard questions, any questions. We're just used to asking. And when we ask, things become better only by thinking about the answer. All right, 1 minute. Time for questions. Ask me anything. How did you feel about today's talk? Hello.
We need to digest.
Definitely. And I'll give you enough time. I'm not sure when the next talk will be, but I'll invite you to a follow-up.
Well, I have a question.
Please.
If we communicate well in the team, but the client is a difficult one, and the back and forth comes due to the client unclarity about what he wants, what we should do to not waste that much time.
Invite them for a beer. As ridiculous as it sounds, but the client is always difficult. They are not supposed to be easy and cooperative. They pay us to deliver software, and we should understand them. This is their expectation. One of the reasons is that you communicate through emails, most probably. Get them live. Invite them to sit with you for a week, or you go and sit with them for a week, or send your product manager or your boss or someone to sit with them. Spend time together. If it's a Corona situation, again, try to invite them in a live session. It could be remote. Communicating over emails and comments and waiting for feedback is just difficult. There, it's not the customer that is difficult. It's the way we talk. We are different people with different backgrounds, and we should use them. But unless we sit together and have a common time to spend together actively, we cannot leverage that uniqueness that we talked about on the first talk. But on the contrary, it becomes a problem. So try to find a way to spend time together, like tonight, or invite them for a virtual coffee or virtual lunch, and just informally, even in, we're all people, and even in the highest regulated environments or customers that feel distant, they're still people, and there's approach to everyone. Your sales and marketing team most probably are much closer to them. They've signed contracts with them. They've spent time with them. Find a way to spend time together. Build a relationship.
Okay,
This is the most important. Then it's easy. Even if there are problems, even if there are bugs, it's much easier because you build trust. What else is on your mind? All right. Next plans from my side. I don't have the dates yet, but these are my plans. I want to create several more talks and one workshop about user stories. The first talk was very in the form of a lecture rather than interactive. So what we talked on the first lecture, high quality, or webinar, high quality user stories, I want to exercise with anyone who is interested. And I plan to create a workshop with, we will be doing test analysis and writing acceptance criteria and running user stories against the user story checklist and writing high quality user stories. And I want to demonstrate how this can, again, increase the quality early, come up with quality risks early, and speed up the entire development process, because we will have defined and clarified so much and spare this clarification time from the workflow later. It will be longer. I don't know when it will happen, but these are happening. Then who are you is another of my favorite topics. Defining quality strategy is not only a matter of testing or the list of what it is. It's all about the business, the product, and the customer, and the entire company vision. So I have a checklist for this too, a lot of checklists. To what are the factors that actually affect our quality strategy, and then some other things. So if you're interested, you see that I'm all around, all over the social media right now. Follow me, there will be new dates. All right, last but not least, if you or your team or anyone you know is interested into what I've been talking about, but in more details and with more examples and exercises, then next week, is it? Yes. I will run the software quality for startups course, and today, and by what time, what did I add? Yeah, this week, the discount code is 30%, clean 30. So I would appreciate a share. It's on maven.com. It's tagged under product leadership and technology. Software quality for startups. It's for startups because, as I started the talk today, it's meant to be quick but efficient, clean and efficient, and deliver immediate results in terms of process improvement and quality improvement. All right, The feedback form, copy. This is everyone. That's the feedback form. Please share any feedback, and of course, join the Slack channel and ask me anything there. I'm available for discussions, for quick talks, for working collaboration, anything that you need and you have on your mind about process improvement and software quality and testing and teams and efficiency and all of this stuff. These are my social media channels. I try to work with all of them. Twitter, LinkedIn, and the site, not so much in Facebook. The videos from the webinars will be also uploaded to YouTube, if you don't mind. So you'll be able to watch them there as well if you lose any of the recording or the links. And that's it, I think, for today. Yes, 70 minutes more. Thank you so much for bearing with me on this. Some might say it's a little chaotic topic, but it's not. There are a lot of sense for me why clean is fast and why collaboration is the cleaner way of building software than working asynchronously. Let me know what you think. Send me a message. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Bye. See you
Bye.
next
Bye.
time.
Bye.